Welcome to the Art and Science of Expansion Masterclass. So today we'll be having a conversation around expansion, right? Now over the past several years, Ellen and I, we've been on a journey of continuous growth within our life and within our business, right? Now, why are we here right now with you hosting this training today? Well, about 3 months ago, something extremely exciting happened. We became aware of a concept that allowed things to really just click for us on like a deep level, right? Now, we've had a clear vision in our life, right? We've known our life path to a degree for a long time, more than most people, with what we've been able to accomplish and the direction we're able to go and how we live our life, right? Now, this new concept though, right? This has given us even deeper clarity on how we'll be living in a much more fulfilled life, right? And able to be expanding our business even further moving forward into the future, right? Now this specifically fell into place after we discovered this concept this concept we'll be sharing with you today, right?
I'm so excited.
Now I believe, that our business growth would have been so much more exponential if we had actually learned this concept right at the start of our journey, Therefore, we're buzzing. We are super excited to be able to share this with you today, to be able to open you up to this today, whether you're just starting out or whether you're already a few years into business. It is going to help you see with much more clarity, right? And during our retreat that we're going to be going into, we'll be applying this concept on a deep level, integrating it into everything that you have going on in your life and your business. Now, today, we will be able to help you see more clearly already.
Yes, and so we're going to dive into it. We want to do a quick check-in with you guys to see where you're at in business. So I would love for you guys to drop a 1 in the chat if you currently feel like your business is in a flow, or drop a 2 in the chat if you currently feel like your business is out of alignment. So drop a 1 or a 2 in the chat. So a 1 if you're in the flow, a 2 if you feel like, like something is a little bit off.
Mm-hmm. A pretty good mix.
Pretty good mix,
Pretty good
okay.
mix.
I see Lindsay a 2.
A lot more 2s coming out now.
Etsy a 2. That's okay, you're still starting out, right?
Yeah.
Caroline a 2.
Yeah.
A 1.5 for Nicole.
So couple 1.5. So like somewhere in between, a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Okay, cool. Let's do one more. So drop a 3 in the chat if you know what comes easy to you in business. Or drop a 4 in the chat if you don't know what comes easy to you in business. Okay, also a good mix. It's going so quick, actually.
There's some 3s, but there are a lot of 4s coming out right now.
I see Maxine Lily a 4.
Yeah.
Sifra a 3.
Danique 3. Lucas 3.
Rachel
Nicole
a 3.
4.
Okay.
Yeah.
So today you're going to walk away with a few things. You're going to walk away with clarity on how to really create more of that flow, more of that alignment, and especially expansion in your business, because that's the theme of the call today, expanding your business. Each and every one of you is going to walk away with your own takeaway, your own little breakthrough in your own way, because everybody's in their own phase of business. Like Connor just said before, some of you are right at the start, right? And this is going to be like, holy shit, and for us, 3 months ago, this was a major eye-opener, and we've been in business for 6 years.
Yeah, and this was like, once we became aware of this, we're like, oh my god, dude, this is a big deal.
Yes, exactly. And like Connor mentioned earlier, you're also going to learn how you're going to be able to apply this concept specifically in the retreat that we have coming up in December. And at the end of this masterclass, we'll share a little bit more details about the retreat and invite you to join us there to really put all the pieces together live in person with us in Austria in a super magical environment. Mm-hmm. So just drop a yes in the chat if you guys are excited about knowing more about the retreat at the end of this masterclass.
Yes, right on. Now, and of course, as always, if you've been to any of our master classes, you know that you'll be walking away here with just full of high energy, really just on a high vibe.
Exactly. That always happens on these master classes. So we're excited for you guys to get to experience that again here with us today. So just still a little bit about us. Connor and I have been free and living anywhere around the world for the past 7 years, and I still see the yeses coming in, so that is really exciting to see. So we'll share more about that at the end of the call. So yeah, Connor and I have been free and living anywhere around the world for the past like 7 years now. In 2 weeks, we're together for 7 years. Just in case you forgot. And we've been in business for 6+ years now, and we've been able to earn 6 and 7 figures through multiple different areas in the online space.
Yeah, absolutely. Now we've invested like big money into our mentors, into getting mentorship from other people, from other like absolute kick-ass business owners, educating ourselves, going through so many different things. With all that added up, that's what's really brought us here to be able to show up for you today in the way that we are.
Yeah, and many of you know this, though I do want to emphasize this again. We didn't start out in 2016 knowing exactly what we were good at. We didn't. We didn't know that. And it wasn't easy at the start.
Yeah, though I will say that, once we got off the ground, right, it's been fairly smooth sailing for us.
Yes, and I guess we've always wondered a little bit like why? Like why has it been fairly good for us over the past couple of years? Why has it been fairly smooth for us? And we see a lot of people that are getting caught up on, obstacles along the way that they get to experience. And now we know why. And today you're going to find out as well. I'm so excited for you to actually realize that.
Yes. Now, a big thing that we realized after we became aware of this concept is that for you to really expand in your life, in your business, you're going to want to do more of what comes easy to you, right? More of what comes easy to you in your business, right? Now, we've all heard we have things in business that do come easy to us, right? And some things that are just like, bro, it's like painful. It's just like, it's not an enjoyable experience. It's a challenge, something you have to get over, right? Now, society will tell us, it does tell us to work hard, right? And I agree with that wholeheartedly, right? Hard work is part of the game, right? We definitely wouldn't have got here by doing nothing, right? That's definitely not the case. Though there is a big difference between hard work and working at something that's hard for you. Okay?
Do you guys see that difference? Right? And for us, I think subconsciously, we've been over the past couple of years doing exactly what has come easy to us. And now we're able to pinpoint it. Now we're able to, through this concept, have been able to actually see it. And so we've been doing what we really enjoy. And so we want to ask you guys, can you put in the chat if there's a certain thing or task that you already know comes very easy to you? So let me know in the chat, what is that thing that that is just on top of your mind right now that comes easy to you? Video editing?
I've seen video editing. Yep.
So that could be anything, right? From like talking to people to maybe creating a system or planning or listening, right? Yeah. Creating new ideas.
Organizing, networking, Nicole, communication. Whoa, that is so fast.
Well, it looks like you guys already know a little
Lindsay, time management.
Creative strategy, I love that.
Yeah, organizing, video. See, awesome, right? Nice. And what's super cool about that is, some of you are completely different from others, right?
Amazing. And so what we're going to do today is you will open your eyes on this call to really expand your thinking, expand the possibilities, your view on business, and you're going to be able to see that through a different lens. And that's really what it did to us. And so we are going to be right now going into a little bit of an analogy that we do want to share with you guys. I love storytelling. I love getting to learn through stories. And so that is one thing that we want to do right now before we fully dive into the concept that made a big impact for us 3 months ago. And then at the end of this call, actually, we do have something extra, and it's something that a lot of you guys have been waiting for as well. And you actually get to step into Connor's brain and how he thinks. A lot of you guys got to see some things about that already in some of the mastermind calls in gold, right? And so a lot of you have been asking us, like, how does Connor really come up with ideas and things like that, right? And so we're going to be diving into that at the end of this call as well. So let's talk about expansion. Yes. What is expansion?
Yeah, what is expansion? Absolutely. Yeah, so what is expansion? It's,
Well, maybe we should ask you guys a question first. Like, what comes to mind when you think of expansion? What are words that come to mind for you? Growth, scaling up, bigger for Maxime, energy for Alyssa, taking up more space for Denise, transforming, developing.
Yep.
Beautiful. Now, what is the opposite from expansion?
Great. What is the opposite of expansion? Is contraction. Expansion is this. It's going up and out, and growth, as you guys are saying, right? It's taking up more space. It's all of that, right? Expanding, becoming more, having, attaining more, right? Abundance, right? And then contraction is when things are coming in, right? When things are becoming less, they're reducing, they're shrinking, becoming smaller. It's maybe more aligned with scarcity or other things like that.
Which
right?
is not what we want.
No, that's
right.
That's not.
So tell me a little bit about what expansion is in your interpretation.
In regards to the okay, so expansion is, in my eyes, is one of the most natural states in the world around us, and it's occurring at all times, right? It's the natural state of the universe that we are in. It's expanding. If you look at life, like trees and like plants and things growing around you, it is one of the natural states that is just occurring at all times in our known universe, right? Things are either expanding or they're contracting, right? And the universe that we are in is ever expanding, right? So as far as science tells us, right? And with that, if you can become more aware of that, right? If you can become conscious to the fact that the universe is always expanding, right? You can tune your thinking, your direction, and your actions to be in alignment with that, right? And now, if you're doing that, you're being able to benefit from one of the most powerful forces in our universe that is just, it's there, it's just occurring, it's that streamline, it's that flow that's there, right? And you can tune yourself in with that.
Now, when we're talking about powerful forces, can you tell me the analogy and story that you shared with me earlier last week about the plane?
Okay. Yes. Yeah, so airplane. We travel a whole bunch. A lot of you
just
guys
like
do.
You guys, yes.
Like a lot of you do as well. So I want you to visualize an airplane right now, right? Whether it's a private jet, whatever, you decide. Figure out it's an airplane, yeah? Now this airplane, there's a couple different forces that naturally occur around this airplane and it doing what it needs to do, basically.
Go from A to Z.
Exactly. Take you from here to there, right? That's the goal. Now, there's two different components that are the main ones that this airplane will need to do to go there, right? First off, it's going to have to take lift off. It's going to have to get off the ground first, right? It's not going to be flying unless it gets off the ground. And then once it's in flight, it needs to be able to actually travel the whole destination until the end point, right? Okay, so those are the two main things that will be occurring. And around that, now there are two other factors which are the natural environmental components which will influence the ease or the difficulty of that flight, right? Now, those two things are a headwind and a tailwind, okay?
Can you briefly explain what those two are?
Yes, a headwind is wind coming at you. It's in your face. It's to the head of the plane. It's coming at you. It's trying to push you in the opposite direction of where you're trying to go, okay? And then a tailwind is going to be a wind and a stream that comes behind you and helps push you forward, push the plane forward, right? So those are the two forces that are occurring, right? You could in a sense equivalent them or compare them to expansion and contraction. Mm-hmm. Yeah? All right.
Okay, so now imagine we're taking off. Then what do we want? Do we want a headwind or do we want a tailwind?
Mm-hmm. So pilots want a headwind when taking off, right? Now it may seem contradictory in a sense if you haven't looked at how flights and things work. But if you're on the ground, this plane is ground ready to take off, to have the most controlled ascent, to be able to lift off the ground, pilots want to have a headwind, something that they're coming into. Right? They have this headwind that they're coming into because it's more controlled. They know it's predictable. It's more, hey, I'm at this, so I have a level of resistance coming at me, so I can face that and come and cut through it and have that downward pressure, which is going to help the plane lift off. Okay? Now, if you have a tailwind during the liftoff phase, right, that becomes a little bit more dangerous because as you're looking to go take off, right, now you have this basically wind stream behind you that can alter, more easily shift the nose of your plane around. It can alter the direction in which you're going. Yeah?
Okay, so now imagine we're up in the air, we've had our takeoff, okay, and then what happens? Then what do we rather have the tailwind then, moving forward?
So I love that Stephanie's saying I'm explaining this better than the aeronautical school in Florida. That's awesome. That's funny. Yeah. So now once you're up in the air, right? Now we have liftoff, right? The plane's up in the air. Now your objective is getting from point A, which you just got off the ground on, right, to point B, which is your destination. Yeah. Now here, if you're facing a headwind, you're facing resistance. You're going to have resistance that whole way, right? So what it's going to be doing is it's going to be slowing your plane down. It's going to be putting extra stress and strain on your engines because they have to work harder to keep up a certain level of speed. Your plane is going to be burning up more fuel in the engines, right? Because the engines are having to work harder. So it's going to take you longer to get there, and all of those other factors I just mentioned.
So basically what we want is we want that expansion, we want that tailwind.
Yes.
Because what happens when we have that tailwind?
The tailwind is now you get to your destination faster, right? You have less strain on the engines, right? They don't have to work as hard, and you have better fuel consumption, right? So your resources are utilized in a better manner, right? And you get to your destination faster, right?
Now you might be wondering, well, why are we talking about airplanes? How does this relate to business?
Yes, this directly relates to business in my eyes and to the art and science of expansion, which we're talking about here. Now, in business, if you think about there's different phases to business as well. It's like the startup phase, the initial kickstart and like making something happen.
Which
right?
maybe a lot of you are in right now. You're like, haven't even started your business and you're here to like explore more, or you're just at the start of your business. That could be that you're there right now.
Exactly. You're trying to figure out how to get liftoff first, or you're up in the air and you have some things going on. So in the business setting, when it comes to liftoff, right, the one that's more beneficial is the same as what we just mentioned, experiencing that the pilots want for an actual physical airplane, right? Now for you and your business, what you're looking to have we've noticed it's been far more beneficial when people face resistance in the early stages.
Beginning, like all the way at the beginning.
Yes, in the beginning stages, as much as it may seem contradictory, we've noticed in people because we've seen hundreds or thousands of people in the business space trying to create something, right? So this is an experience we're drawing from. And from that, we've seen people who do have more resistance at the early stages, showing up as friends or family not supporting you, right? Living in a current, having circumstances that you're like, oh my God, life is not good or easy here right now.
My job is not enjoyable. I don't want to go to work on Monday.
Don't want to accept that stuff, and you need to get out of it, right? When people are facing harder levels of resistance at the start, that headwind, right? They end up having more drive. They end up having more fire. They end up having stronger engines built inside of them and inside of their business to be able to have a more fluid liftoff, okay?
Now, and then once we're in the air, we don't necessarily want to experience that resistance anymore because we want to make sure that we're like catching that tailwind, right? That we're experiencing expansion. And
exactly. So if you're getting that, if now you're up in the air, you're trying to get to your destination, that's your goal, the thing you want to accomplish, the financial numbers, the amount of people you want to impact, whatever it is, right? If you're facing resistance there the whole way, that's not an easy journey of operating that business, right? It's not. And there's a whole bunch of things that looks like. But then when you get a tailwind, right, that's where things can be a lot more fluid. That's where things start to fall into place and you get to your destination, your goal, much faster. Right?
And that is where this concept that we're sharing with you guys is going to come into place, because this is going to make sure that you catch the tailwind, that you get to experience that expansion in your life that we feel we have experienced over the past couple of years, but we were never able to like really pinpoint it.
Yes.
Okay?
So exactly. So this concept we'll be sharing will be helping you discover how the pieces of your plane are going to come together, the pieces of your business, how they need to make sure that you can catch that tailwind so you can be in alignment with expansion.
Yeah, so I want to hear from you. Does this click for you? Like, what resonates with you from this analogy? What is the thing that clicks, and maybe where are you at in your business? Janu, get rid of the turbulence.
Turbulence is something we all experience. That happens for sure, right? That's part of the journey, is turbulence. But facing onto a headwind or a tailwind, you don't have to be facing a headwind the entire time, right?
So what resonates for you guys from this? What clicks? Emilia definitely relates to the resistance at the beginning, giving you better drive. Absolutely, that's what it did for us. It's like it got us so pumped and fired up and given this drive that we felt like we had to prove ourselves right, that we could actually do this. Not fear the resistance. Don't get discouraged by the resistance. Yes, Shannon. I love it. Such an awesome analogy. Never thought about it from this perspective. I had so much motivation when I started because of resistance. Absolutely, guys. So really, like, so what is really the key lesson in here is that definitely you're going to have different components in your business that you'll see in a minute when we explain the concept that need to come together for you to really catch that tailwind. And at the same time, you do want to experience that headwind at the start, which I'm sure many of us, if not all of us, have experienced that already at the start of our journey, because otherwise you probably wouldn't be here today. You wanted more out of life. You wanted to experience more, right? So let's dive into the concept that we've been getting you excited about so that you can really learn how to catch that tailwind in your business. And so there's two things that can happen as a result of knowing about this concept. Number one is you'll find out that what you're currently doing is in exact alignment with you, and it is an extra confirmation that you're on the right path, and that is really what it did for us. It got us so much more clear. We were able to connect all the dots, and it was just like, okay, it all makes sense. That is basically what happened to us. And then number two, you may find out that you may be focused on something that is not in alignment, that is not with your actual nature, your actual strengths, which then allows you to then pivot and make changes. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to be sharing my screen with you guys, so give me a second. What you guys can see here is a quadrant. And each one of these quadrants is basically symbolizes a certain nature, somebody's natural gifts and talents.
Yeah.
And so there's 4 quadrants that we're going to be covering with you right now. There's the main natures that you see on the slide. And so you're going to want to make some notes about the things that we're saying, because by the end of this quadrant, we're going to be asking you to identify where you see yourself, where in this quadrant you may be finding yourself. And so let's talk about this first one up the top here, which is the visionary. Now, the visionary is the person that will often ask questions regarding what? Like, what am I creating? What is my next idea? What is the foundation?
This kind of person is really like, heads in the clouds. They're in a dream state a good percentage of the time,
Exactly. And so this is the person that loves to innovate, that loves to create inventions. It's the beginning. It's the foundation of something. Okay, so this is the first one. So make some of those notes. So the beginning, the idea. It's like the birth of something.
Exactly.
Okay. Then what we have on the right side, we have the ally. Now, the ally is... Sifra, dream world is definitely me. Who knows? So I'll make some notes there already, and let's see if that's the core one that you feel like you have, or if there's other ones that come up for you as we share the rest here. So and then we have the ally, and so the ally, the nature of the ally is really revolved around the energy of love, the energy of warmth, of connection. And this person, the ally, they love going out and meeting people. They love going out there and connect people with each other. And so if you're an ally, that could be that you're somebody that loves supporting the visionary in that sense, but you could also be the person
who's
that
just the ally of other people, right? Of in your business, you are your client's ally, maybe, right?
Yeah, exactly. And so allies, they often make structures really that allow other people to feel special, to feel included. Okay, so who knows, maybe you are the ally. So I see Ella is already saying that's definitely me. Okay, great. I love that you guys are already identifying things. So then we go to the bottom, and so this is the seller. And so this person at the bottom, this person is always asking when questions, like when are we executing this? When are we doing this? When are we getting these things done? And so this person is very grounded, and their nature is really execution. And this is kind of the opposite from the visionary, where the visionary is the person that has their heads in the clouds, right? They're always dreaming. The person at the bottom here, the seller, is the person that has like their feet on the ground. They're like very grounded. They're ear to, how do you say this?
Yeah, ear to the ground. They're in there, you know what I mean? They're really engaged in it. They're, if a crisis or something's happening, they're in there like helping solve it. They're like, they're making sure things get dealt with, and they're handled. And
they're listening very deeply. They really will look after and nurture relationships. And like I said before, this person is not an innovator or a creator or a visionary. This person likes to get things done. So also don't let this person try and come up with new ideas. You want to make sure that this person can be in execution mode, basically. Okay? And then on the left side, we have the analyst. And so the analyst is the person on the left, and this is the person who really creates the database system. This is somebody who really allows to, when you have a certain service, this person allows the service to be run efficiently, smoothly.
Yeah.
And so this is somebody that will think a lot about like spreadsheets and organization and data analysis and things like that.
Yeah.
Really looking at the back end
Usually
of the
this
business.
kind of person as well isn't one that's not highly prone to risk, right? They want to stick to the facts. They want to know what's going on and reduce risk if possible, right?
Perfect. And so if we think about these four, I'm curious what you guys think we are. So what do you think Connor is out of these four? Let me know in the chat. Which one of these four do you guys think Connor is? A lot of you guys know Connor a little bit better already. So yes, he's the visionary. Exactly. And now who do you think I am in these four? The seller. Yes, exactly.
You guys
exactly.
know us well.
But the important thing here is that some of you guys are already identifying like, oh, I'm this or I'm this or I'm this, and that's great, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it is also really important to know that our mentors really guided us through exercises and questions to really discover who we really are, which one of these, so that we can really could get really clarity on our natural gifts. And so
Yes.
that way we've really been able to like kind of puzzle the pieces of what we have been doing together.
Exactly. It really brought such a higher level of clarity of what we've been doing in the past up until now that has worked and what hasn't worked, and it's allowed us to really understand each other on a deep level that now we know wholeheartedly what our lanes are and what our lanes are not, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that is like one of the most prized gifts that we could possibly like have gotten. Like I'm telling you, this has been, holy shit, this has been a game changer for us.
And so you might be one of these, right? And most likely we're all a combination of these, but you're going to be dominantly one.
Yes.
Now, the thing is that there's also combined nature. So each one of these are in nature, somebody's natural talents. And so we also have combined nature. So we want to dive into those with you guys as well. And so if we have a combination between the visionary and the ally, that is what we call a star. And so a star is somebody that loves to be in front of people. They could love to be on stages, not everybody, but they could love to be in stages.
They love to perform. They want to, in a way, they want to shine their light on other people, right? Whether that is in the form of being on stage or whether it's, one-to-one conversation sometimes. It's being that performer, it's shining that light onto people.
Exactly. And so as you guys can see, it's the what, it's like the creation element of the visionary, and then the human element, the person, like the connection element of the ally. And so the star really loves to create in service to people. And the people are really magnetized to them. So that is the star, okay? Now, when we move on to the combination of natures between the ally and the seller, this is where we have the negotiator. Okay. Now the negotiator, they really know, who needs the support and when they need it. So it's the who and the when together. So really serving people and in some sense making deals, right? Like really serving people. And oftentimes everybody wants to get to know this person.
Yeah.
Because what happens is that this person knows how to connect the right people with each other.
Yes, exactly.
Connecting the right people, basically.
They're peacemakers. They can help find that balance in certain scenarios and make sure that the deal, something comes together on a mutually beneficial basis, right? They're really that negotiator who has the thing come together, right?
Stephanie, yes, you are absolutely the star. That's how I feel about you as well. Now, that doesn't mean that's actually the case already. We'll give you guys an example of what happened with one of our friends as well. But so Julia is saying, it is already giving me clarity on what works and what aspects I miss in my business now. That's amazing. That's great to hear.
Yeah.
So let's go to the bottom left one, and this is the collector.
Yes.
Okay. Now, the collector loves to stack things. They love to collect things, basically. They know exactly when to acquire things. So when they want to acquire things, or when they want to let go of things, when they want to let go of assets. And these people don't really like wasting things, right?
No, they're definitely important, or they have a high focus on efficiency, right? They don't want to, again, like similar to the analysts, like I mentioned before, they're not interested in having high risk exposure, right? They want to be able to make sure things are steady, they're collecting and increasing their portfolio, like a Warren Buffett, right? A Warren Buffett is a collector personality.
Yeah,
right?
and so they see the risk and they basically expand their wealth, they expand their business through very careful analysis, adjusting, fine-tuning. That is what a collector is and does, how they work.
Yeah.
And then lastly, on the top, we have the technician.
Yeah.
Now, the technician is the person who's constantly upgrading things, constantly up-leveling the system, making things better and better. And so this person has a combination of the what, like the creative power, but also like the analytical side. So they have analytical strengths with creative power. And so these people will really invest their energy into the next version of an idea.
Yeah.
And actually, this person's greatest power really is actually getting frustrated about what's not working.
Yeah.
Because when something is not working, that's your greatest strength in this case, because this is where you then get to innovate. You get to upgrade a certain system, which is an amazing skill to have in a team as well, right? So these are the 8 that we wanted to share with you. So we're really curious, which archetype do you think you could be? Let me know in the chat. What do you think you are? And how are you currently contributing in your business? And obviously with everybody that has already signed up for the retreat, we're going to be really diving deep into your natural gifts and talents and adding and co-creating with each other.
Yes.
I see a lot of stars in the beginning.
Stack of stars.
Okay, Tana, star. Okay, beautiful. Amber, star. Caroline, star. Josh, a visionary star.
Julia, negotiator.
Okay, beautiful. Okay.
Nice.
So it's very interesting because we actually did have one of our friends go through this process with us, and we supported her through this process. And
before like when we first like shared this component with her, right? She wholeheartedly believed that she was an ally. She's like, there's no doubt in my mind. This is who I am. This is what I do. Right?
And then we took her through the process, and she actually ended up being an analyst. And so what we uncovered there is that she then kind of went back into what she had been doing for a long period of time, and what she had been excited about was like budget sheets and financials and spreadsheets and things like that.
For her, it clicked in a huge way, because what she realized actually is some of the things she had been doing work-wise fell under the ally category. So that's where she kind of thought she was, but her natural gifts, her natural space was actually on the analyst side, right? She was an analyst, and once she understood what that was, she was like, oh my God, this makes total sense. Like I've been playing in the wrong lane in a sense, and like I am so excited about all these things. Like these are the things that really light me up. Right?
And she basically
spreadsheets and stuff like that, and I'm like, whoa.
And she basically already told the projects that she was working with that she was going to transition from working on like the marketing side and like being like an ally to those people and supporting them to the financial side of things, which is really exciting to see how quickly that switch was actually made. And so how can this information impact you guys, right? Because there's a lot of elements and pieces that you could pull out of this.
So the real benefit, right? The real benefit of this is seeing like where your nature is, where that natural, innate being inside of you, like where that lies, right? And by realizing that and aligning that yourself with your highest value natural gifts, right? You are now bringing yourself into deeper alignment with expansion. Okay.
Now, what I also believe it did for me, and specifically for Connor as well, it'll help you have more conviction in the thing that is your natural talent, right? Because now you know that for a business to really run, like you're gonna need to have multiple components of these. Just like Julia mentioned earlier, like now I know why this element is missing in my business, or this is why there's too much resistance or too much headwind there. It's because that's not your natural gift, right? And so when you get cleared on who exactly you are here, you're going to be able to have that conviction in your service a lot more.
Exactly. Your conviction is up, your confidence is increased, because now you have that clarity and really like a deep understanding of what you're going to be saying yes to and what you're going to be saying no to, right? Because you'll realize like oh my God, that's totally not me, that's not it. So you can push that out, so you can stand stronger in your natural gifts, and in doing so, other people come to respect that to a higher level as well, because they identify it and they can appreciate when you say yes to something and when you say no to something, and the things you say yes to, that's where you have that natural flow.
I see Julia saying, that's so interesting. Take me through this process. Well, Julia, that's what we're going to be doing at the retreat, so we can definitely take you through that process there, of course. And so what's also an interesting aspect or element here that you can identify is that let's say that you're a star, right? For example, Tana, some other people, you guys all mentioned that you're stars. Now, if you identify that you are a star, and that's, you know, what actually comes out of the process, like, okay, this is who you are. Let's say that you have a done-for-you service. If you have a service where you're doing all the work for your clients, doing the branding and the structure and this and that,
putting
and
together spreadsheets or like, you know, different things in the back end and all this other stuff, right?
Then that may be where you're like actually operating in this area where you're doing the execution part, right? Where you're getting the things done, versus what actually comes natural to you is being the star and attracting the people, and that is like what you can operate more in then. Okay, so this is just a really interesting thing to like identify for us. And what is Melina saying? What if you're a combination of two opposites, like visionary and seller? Well, we'll share with you guys what ours look like. So this is Connor, okay? And you guys were, Danique, oh my God, this is so clicking at the moment, especially for those of you couples. If you're a couple in business, this can really make things so much more smooth and easy in your relationship as well, right?
It really, yeah. You understand yourself, right? And when you understand that, you can you understand other people, right? That's what I'm telling you guys. Like, as we said, we've been together and together for 7-something years. We've been working online and like in a business together as a couple for 6+ years, and like working multiple businesses. And literally in the past 3 months, we came across this, like we discovered this and understand it now. And it's like, holy shit, you know, it's really like just like a mind-blowing thing that's really helped us align on such a higher level.
Okay, so let's dive a bit deeper into this. And so as we shared just now is that we did feel a lot of tension in our relationship. And why was that? Because Connor kept coming up for, Francine's asking, who do you think you are? Yeah, I would be really curious to know that as well, Danique. Yeah. And for John, who you think John is maybe. For us, for Connor, he is the visionary, right? He is the person, as you guys can see here, the visionary is my dominant one.
Though I also have a component that's like technician and star, right?
Yeah.
Those are two other components that I have that's integrated into how I operate, but the vision component is like hands down like the dominant one.
And so for you, Melina, your process will look different, right? Like who you are will be different. And so you may have more of a combination of the visionary and the seller. And so that might look completely different for you, right? And so for Connor, he was the visionary. He is like the person that always loved to come up with new ideas, is always wondering, what's the next thing I'm creating? Yes. What am I innovating?
And that would bring up some friction and some tension with and
I would be like, why? Why are we just coming up with these new ideas all the time? Why can't we not just pick one thing and execute it? Because that's me, right? That's me. So if you guys can see, we are the exact opposite. And so when we saw this, we kind of deep down knew that we were opposites, right? That we think completely different, all of that.
We're aware of that beforehand, right? For we've been together for like a long time. So it's something we're conscious of, but not really to the extent of seeing it when you have it like this and you can really understand like what it's about and what it means. And like you can, it's on a different level, to be honest.
Exactly. So this is really, and this is what makes us as a power couple, yes, Denise, because this is how we've been able to build our business without much of the headwind, because we have been able to both like fill each other up. And yes, that has come with a lot of tension, because I wanted Connor to come to my side and be like, Connor, like we can make so much more money and have so much more impact if we're just selling the whole time, if we're putting ourselves out there and all of that. And Connor didn't want to do that because that's not his natural talent.
And I'd be freaked out, and I'd be trying to like, I'd be over here like visualizing a whole new concept and wanting to create this phenomenal thing, and I'm like, yo, come up here, like, you know, join in on this conversation and like help me craft this thing. And then just, you know, I would get nothing, and I'm just like, rah.
Exactly. And so then for me, obviously I'm this bottom side, and we will each have like a little bit of the opposite, right? So it's like a combination, but for me, my strengths are the seller, and then on the left and right side, the collector and the negotiator. So we think very, very differently, and that's how it has worked for us. And so if you guys can see here, this is the overview right now. It's like, okay, Connor and I are like the dominant one, are the visionary and the seller. and then and then the secondary ones are the star and the technician, and the negotiator and the collector. So we have a lot of pieces of our business covered that way. Just like Ariana is saying, you probably need to have everything to have like a well-rounded business, and that's exactly right.
Exactly. So the thing is, with Ellen and myself, we've been capable of putting things together, though we've still experienced a lot more resistance and headwind than we needed to, right? And when we realized this, and we've been able to bring in an ally and an analyst, right, or these people who help contribute to the other portions, the streamline, you know, that we get into, being able to catch on that tailwind and have ourselves in alignment with, you know, with expansion, with ourselves, and our business in alignment with expansion, from having all these pieces filled, it's no joke like how impactful this has been for us.
Yeah, and so as you can see, the ally and the analyst, and this is also why we have officially partnered up with Francine, who is my sister, and she's our curriculum designer inside of our masterminds, and she's the ally.
She's our ally.
So she's the one that makes everybody feel seen and heard and creates the structures behind everything. And so this is why we partner up with her for our retreats as well, so that you guys get so many components of us really covered in this space where we get to co-create together.
Yes.
Okay. Now let's go one layer deeper. Are you guys ready for that? Drop a 1 in the chat if you guys are still following and ready to go a layer deeper. All right, a bunch of 1s. Amazing.
All right.
All right, let's take a look at this here. So just like Ariana just said, you need to have different components in your business, right? And so the thing is that the mistake that we see many people make is that when they build a business, they go counterclock. So they go around like this. Mm-hmm. Now, people would come up with an idea and be like, hey, this is what I'm going to be doing, okay? Then what they do is they go to the left side and they're gonna figure out the how.
How are we going to put it together? How is how is this business, all these things going to work, right?
Exactly. So figuring out like the payment processing and the spreadsheets and the data and like the putting the whole thing together, right? Mm-hmm. Then they're going to be like, okay, now I get to a point where I'm ready, right? And then they start selling it. And then they might actually uncover and realize that the product may not be selling, that there's no demand for it, or that it's just not not put together in a way that people are looking for it. Yeah. So this is a very, very expensive way to build a business, because it takes a lot of time and a lot of resources, right? If you're starting up top and you're going around this way, it means that you're doing things in a way that is the opposite from what we've done. Yeah. So this is actually not what we recommend doing. We actually recommend to go around the other way. Yeah. So we recommend to go around this way.
Go clockwise.
Exactly.
And starting, for the most part, starting at the top, right?
Yeah, and again, like the other way around, just to go back one time, this can be a great way if you have a big budget, right? If you're a big company, you have millions of dollars in startup capital.
Big corporation, you got like 50 million plus, $100 million, and you can go spend that money, doing all the analytical side of things and like putting it together and like going out and promoting it and blasting all over the place, or like working to sell it, right? But not really realizing some of these other components of it.
Yes, and so what you want to do is you want to make sure that you go this way around. And this is what we've done forever. Like, we have not done it the other way around. We create an idea, we create a concept. Same thing with this masterclass even. Like, we had the idea of coming up with this masterclass a month ago, right? And then we started talking about it. But we created it like a week ago or 2 weeks ago, right? And so we've still been reflecting and refining things as we got input from people. And that way you can build something that people are really looking for. And this is the same thing in business. You want to come up with an idea, and then you want to go towards like this area here where you can start to promote it, you start to talk about it, you start to connect with people that could be utilizing your offer, the thing that you're going to be helping them with, supporting them with. And then you get to the selling aspect, because that's where you then get to actually validate the offer, you get to actually sell it. And when people buy it, then great, now you get to the how, now you get to put it together, now you get to put all the details in there, and then you can start to refine again. Exactly. You get to innovate.
Back to the visionary, and you can innovate and add new creations or new campaigns or whatever needs to come.
And the good thing about this is that, let's say you're the visionary and you create an idea and you get here and you start to promote it, and nobody ends up wanting to be interested in it or anything, then what you do is you go back up and you go back to the drawing board. You don't go like continue. No, you need to go back up to the drawing board, and that's where you get to innovate, change, adapt, right?
Yeah.
Because then you get to create something, and again, you get to go out there rather than having to go around the entire circle. I see Lily is saying so many golden nuggets already. Amazing to hear that.
Sweet.
And this is what happened actually with one of the girls, Melina. I'm not sure if you mind me sharing what your situation has been. Is that she's kind of been doing it the counterclockwise. She got an idea. She's like, I want to create this, and then she started putting together the payment processing and the videos and all the different things that she was going to be selling. And then she kind of lost the excitement a little bit for it, because yes, that takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of work, right? And then she still hadn't like made the money for it. And so what I would say is start up top, go out there, go find the people, go market it, go promote it, go sell it, get the cash coming in. You have the money coming in. Now you have the proof that it works, plus you have the excitement. And so that is a really, really good way of going around it. I'm glad to hear that, Melina. And so moving forward, definitely keep this visual in mind, because obviously I tried to describe it to you, right? But now you have the visual of like, okay, how does it really work? Because we need all these different components. Okay. Now, for those of you that are a little bit further in the business, and not just only that are further in the business, I think anybody needs this, but when we are, let's say, a visionary, who do you need next? Because there's like, how many are there on the screen? 8. There's 8 different natures right now on the screen that you can see. And in some sense, we need a combination of them, right? And so for you to really build your business in a way that you're going to capture most of this quadrant with the least amount of resources, what you want to do is you want to be either hiring somebody on your team, or partnering with somebody, or masterminding with somebody that is in this area. So 2 or 3 spots over. So look at your quadrant, look at like, where do you think you are? So if you're the star, like the next one that you may need is like the negotiator seller in this area. So let's say that you're a visionary, then the next person that you really need is the ally, it's the negotiator. Yeah. And this is the reason why Connor and I did experience some friction, because like from the visionary, I went straight to the seller, kind of, right? Like that is my zone, that's my like natural gift. And so there was kind of like a little bit of like a step missing in there. And so that's where Francine came in, right? Actually having like an ally, like a negotiator, somebody that can like, you know, take your ideas and put it into a structure and make sure it's actually going to work. And then from there, you again go 2 or 3 spots over. So in this case, for the visionary, you would be thinking of like a collector analyze, somebody in this area. So you're going to be having like a triangle, but in your own way, right? So if you're the star, then your triangle is going to look different. So for me, my seller...
As for the people that you need to help support you and to make sure that you have all these components filled, right, in your business.
Lucas, I just had a holy shit moment. Simple yet mind-blowing. It is super simple, right?
Big holy shit moments we had. Yeah,
exactly. And so because it is really simple, but I think for us, when we learned about this, it just like gave us the extra confirmation that what we had been doing is the exact thing that we need to focus on. And this is why for us, work hasn't felt like work over the past couple of years. While for some of you, a lot of you are always talking like, how do you pick up the motivation again, or this or that? Literally, guys, right now we're on a Sunday, we're in an office right now, and there's nobody here. We love to work because it's like, it comes easy to us. It is our natural gift. And so we didn't really realize that until we really got clear on this concept, okay?
Yeah, and it just allowed us to amplify that, right? And put more energy into our natural gifts already. And then it's like, you can be in flow and radiate on such a higher level even, and it's magnetic, right, for people.
I see Denise says we should make an Excel sheet in a mastermind with our type and see who would be a good person to partner with. Ooh, absolutely. Baby. I see that Francine already made a note of it, so Francine will get to work on that, and that's great. Yes. See, again, she's the ally. She's immediately coming in and be like, oh, great, I'll go do that. I probably would have like been like, hey, Francine, can you go like do this for me? Because that's not me. Like that's not necessarily the thing that I would be going and creating, right? Yeah. So for the seller, for me, I would be again looking over to the left, which is like the analyst, it's the technician, which for me, most of you guys know Carmen, she's doing all of that for me. It's the details, it's the back end, is the little nitty gritty spreadsheets, all of that type of stuff that I do not want to do and that I'm not good at, right? And then of course we go towards like the star, the visionary. Of course I have Connor, you know, on our team, on my team, right? And so he comes up with that. And so this is how you can see, like we right now have a team of 9 or 10 people right now. I think it's already 11 with our interns. So we have 11 people in our team right now. And so we have a lot of this covered, right? And I'm not saying that that's what you need. I'm also not saying that you need to go and hire somebody right now. What I am saying is you are viewing your business through one lens, right? You are viewing your business through the star lens, through the technician lens, through the negotiator lens, through whichever one you are. Obviously, we haven't confirmed that yet, but you know, once you have that confirmed, you know which one you are. And then you get to look at, okay, well, who do I need to really get this moving, to really get this going? And so whether you are, you know, a visionary or a star or an ally, like you are going, and again, all of them are equal. It doesn't mean that the visionary is going to get further in business than somebody else. You just need somebody that you get to mastermind with. You need somebody that can give you input through a different lens, okay? So looking at where you're at right now, whichever one you have on your paper.
Where you think you're at least.
Yeah,
so
where
far.
you think you're at. Who do you need to hire next? I would love to hear that from you guys. Like, who do you feel like you need to partner up with or mastermind with? Because I know that many of you guys are in the beginning stage of business. You may not be ready to hire somebody, right? Or have the financial resources for that. So you're going to want to mastermind with somebody that is like 2 or 3 spots over from you. I see Baukje saying Julia, then Denise is saying seller, Ida Maria is saying negotiator, visionary, seller. So you guys see what's happening here is you guys are all different. And that's what makes coming together in a space so powerful, because you get to have a different lens on your business. You get to look through a different angle.
Yes, totally love that.
Either a seller or get good at sales strategy or get an EA to execute repetitive sales tasks. Yes, Tana. Yeah, so you really get to have this 360-degree view of your business by sitting together with a different person that sees the business through a different lens.
Making sure all the pieces come together, right? As we've been saying, right, when I gave the plane analogy, right, in order to have your plane catch flight and to get into, you know, catch a tailwind, right, you need to have all these pieces of a plane. You need to have the wings, you need to have the body, right? You need to have the tail, engines, all of the above, right? Those are the components here provided from the different natural gifts that we all have.
Exactly, and so this is really what we're going to be focused on in the retreat in Austria, to really make sure that wherever you are on this quadrant, whatever your natural gifts are, first off, we're going to be uncovering that, we're going to be confirming which exactly you are, and then during the retreat, we get to mastermind on that, we get to sit together, and if you need a visionary, well, there you go, you can sit together with Connor, and there's going to be 12 entrepreneurs in the room that you get to mastermind with, so that you can really make sure that your business is in alignment, your business is really ready for that expansion. Maxime says, so excited to work on this during the retreat. Yes, amazing. Okay, so let me just stop the screen, because I would love to talk about how this impacted Connor. So finding out about this concept, like how did this impact you? And so if you want, I can share it, because I know how it impacted you, but maybe you want to share it from your own angle.
100%. I mean, we can both share it. We can take turns with it. So for me, it comes down to, I would encompass it in, you know, this Albert Einstein quote, right? This Albert Einstein quote. I thought you had it in your slides, actually, but that's okay. Everybody is a genius, right? You guys have heard this one, right? Everybody is a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life thinking that it is stupid, right? That's a quote by Albert Einstein, and that's like, that encompasses it for me in a sense of, you know, knowing where your natural gifts really are, right? And being able to stay aligned with that.
And I will be like completely honest here. I thought that Connor's way of thinking was stupid.
Yeah, she thought it was
for a long time.
Yeah, we were both like, we were sometimes so over each other. I'd be like, you're an idiot, and she'd look at me like, you're an idiot, and I'm like,
because we didn't understand each other's thinking, right? And so, what, like I said earlier, Connor wanted to build new idea after new idea after new idea, and I was thinking like, well, we can be 10 years into the future and we still haven't built any of these ideas, right? And so this is where one of the pieces of our vision fell into place. And so I've already shared a little bit on my Instagram stories that a lot of our vision and what we're heading towards and what we're building has shifted and fell into place. We've been able to connect many of the dots. And so one lane of our vision right now, and I'll share with you guys how this concept has really impacted Connor. So from thinking, hey, I need to come up with an idea, because that's what I pushed on him, right? Hey, come up with an idea and we're going to build this idea. It shifted to realizing he can build idea after idea after idea, though we need to monetize it differently. So the way we're going to monetize that right now can be through two ways. Like Connor is going to build an idea for somebody, and then it can be like, you know what, I'm selling the person this idea, and that's where I come in then again, right? I'm selling this person this idea for X amount of money. Or I'm going to be partnering with this person, and Connor is going to be the visionary, is going to be the innovator on the team of that person and take, let's say, 10% or 15% of the company. And that way, Connor can have a portfolio of like 15, 20 companies, where in each company has 10, 15%. And this is also what's really amazing, obviously, about the retreat, is that Connor gets to stay in his zone, in his lane, where Francine and I are doing all like the organizational pieces, and Francine is structuring the whole week and putting all the amazing elements together. I'm the one that like makes sure that we're putting this out here to make sure that you guys know that you get to have this space together with us. And then Connor can actually come to the retreat and be there and innovate with you guys and like go through that process.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Oh, Maxime, something really clicked for me. Do you want to...
That's cool.
I don't know if I can unmute you guys right now. So if you want to put it in the chat, I would love to... I would love to hear it. I would love to hear it. Also, if anything else is clicking for you guys, I would love for you guys to share it in the chat. So let's see if Maxime is going to share that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to dive into Connor's brain. We're like right on time. We're doing perfect.
Wow.
1 hour right now. So we're going into the last part of the call, which is really you diving into Connor's brain and how he really thinks. So should we wait for Maxime? But maybe she's typing an entire story. So let's just dive in and then we'll come back to her. I think, no, I know Maxime. I think it's the settings in the Zoom right now because of the masterclass. So you'll have to type it out. I'm sorry.
If it's too long, though, yeah.
Or we can discuss it after in Gold as well.
Make it quick.
So, friends, what I want to say is that for us, like oftentimes people don't really know how to come up with creative ideas, how to innovate, how to come up with ideas for their business. And I just want to tell you that that is okay. That is okay. Yeah. Connor's been many times.
Doesn't mean something's wrong with you in any sense, and that's partially what we're bringing to you here is like your natural gifts lie somewhere else, right?
Yeah, and there's been many times where Connor came to me and he said, the same way that I asked him, can you come to my side and we go out and like put this out there and sell it and build it all and execute it. The same way around, Connor has asked me many times to come to his side and be like, but Ellen, can you just like sit down with me and brainstorm on this? Can you just like mastermind with me about this idea? Can you ask me these types of questions? Right? And so that wasn't me, because that's not what I'm excited about. I'm not that creative. Like, I'm the doer, I'm the executor. And so we realized that, and I just want you guys to realize that as well, is that not one of them is more powerful than the other one. We all need them. Yeah. We all need these elements, and that makes this space so powerful, where we get to mastermind, where we get to come together and exchange things with each other, right? Mm-hmm. So we're going to go into diving deeper into Connor's mind. So just want to grab my notes a little bit here. So the mind of a visionary. I want to know from you, Connor, how do you prepare yourself to start building a concept? And actually now I see a message from Maxime, so let me just read that. I'm more of a visionary, lots of ideas, and my boyfriend keeps telling me to be realistic. I need to get a job to get money coming in. I now know where this comes from because he might be more of a collector.
Yeah. He just operates completely different than you, right? And that's the thing, is when you're communicating about something that you see, or like you're in tune with, because that's your natural space, and somebody else is has a natural space elsewhere, and they're trying to make you fit in that box, or vice versa. That is the number one thing that's like creating that discourse, and bringing more contraction rather than expansion in our lives and business.
Yeah, right? And so I think it is really important to know that there are actually many couples that when they start building a business, it's not as easy as they think, right? And that is because of this. And so there are many couples that are not together anymore, that started around the same time as us a couple of years ago, and so they haven't been able to like align themselves. And so I think for us it's been like a give and take, and we accept it now about the fact about each other that we both bring different things to the table. And so it's a really important realization that you have, Maxime. because your relationship was a little rocky maybe, right? And so I think right now you can actually go sit down with him and be like, hey, guess what, things started clicking, and so then you can unravel it together. So I'm just quickly going back into the slides to share with you guys how Connor's mind thinks. And again, this is just to really share with you guys, because a lot of you guys have been asking, like, how does Connor come up with like brand identities and brand names and business concepts so easily? And so we just want to, especially those of you that are visionaries and stars, see a little bit about how Connor does this, and then you can learn from that. But also for those of you that are not visionaries, you're going to want to have a visionary on your team or mastermind with, to make sure that you can create like and innovate in your own business as well. So let's talk about the mind of a visionary. One thing that you always do is you really get into like an abundant and optimistic headspace. Can you talk to me about that?
100%, yeah. For that for me is probably the most important starting point. That's where anything is birthed out of. That's the space you need to be in. You need to have to allow your mind to be open, right? As far as the visionary side goes. And you're trying to conceptualize or bring something new to life, right? You need to have your mind open and in an expansive state where you're able to explore all these different like corners of the world and information and things that you know, or what's known and unknown in the world and universe, and be able to start connecting dots, right? And that's only done to be able to come together with a business model or an idea or a brand or some sort of identity thing that can come together and be successful. For me, it has to come from an abundant and optimistic point of view. An optimistic as in you're going to find a way to make it work, right? Because otherwise, if you're coming at it with a degree of scarcity, or you're pessimistic and you're like, I don't know if it's going to work, or you're narrowing in on an idea too fast, it's likely that you're not giving it the room to breathe. It needs to be able to be in an expansive state, as in your mind and how you connect these dots.
And that's probably the challenge that you've experienced, Maxime, where you're like dreaming. You're thinking about all the possibilities, all the opportunities, all the ideas, all the innovations that you could make, all the different things that you could do. And then what your boyfriend does, and that's similar to me, is like, when Connor has an idea and there's one of them that I like, I pick them out. I'm like, that's the one we're going to create, because that's the one I love. And so I think this is where friction comes. It's like, you need to let a visionary go. Like, you need to let that person create. You need to let them come up with new ideas. And so that's where me or Maxime, your boyfriend, maybe has been like pulling you down a little bit too quick, right? And so I think this is important for you to know as well, Maxime, that I think, right now you were doing like the video editing stuff, right? Is that the thing that you need to be doing yourself? Because that's more in the execution phase. It's the getting things done. And so you may want to look at how you can restructure things to like actually look at how can you be the visionary, the star, attracting people, and then...
Yeah, if it is true that you're in the visionary.
And again, it might not be, right? Like we're gonna be uncovering that once we get to the retreat as well. So Amelia says, wait, let me go back up a little bit. Jasmine, is there like a questionnaire test for figuring out what types I am? So this is what we do with the people that are going to be coming to the retreat. We're going to take you through a process, the same process that one of our mentors has supported us with, to really figure out who we are, like what are our natural gifts and our natural talents.
And as you just saying, the 16 personalities gives good insights, Myers-Briggs and stuff like that, and those are good, right? We've done those in the past, though that's not what this is about here.
Yeah, I think there's definitely good personality tests out there, and I do believe that this is one that's really for a business owner, really for somebody that wants to create a business, to learn how you can step into your natural talents and align yourself so that you can expand, and really so that you can create that wealth for yourself.
And having the other people on your team to line up with that abundance.
Yeah, so those are more personality type. These are really like business focused. And so what I want to share with you guys right now is like Connor's technical side, right? Because he's also the technician, and then also the creative side. So we're going to dive a little bit into what type of questions Connor asks himself and what type of research he does. And then also the creative side, which I know that many of you guys would love to hear about, how he comes up with like certain brand names and like kind of like juicy and attractive things. So I asked him a few days ago, I said, hey Connor, okay, we can pick one of the brands that you've already created, one of the business concepts, and we can share them on the call, or can we come up with a new business concept just to kind of give a simple explanation of how you go about this?
Yeah, and I was like, I love the idea of sharing some of them, but I think I'm going to hold some of the juicier ones for retreats, or for ones that I can actually just partner with. But in the example here, I was like, do we have anything new I can just start with? right? And then Ellen basically was like, okay, I can, you know, I was like, anybody who's going to be on the call who we can think of, who we could create something for, right? And in that, she was like, you know what? Ellen's like, I got somebody who comes to mind, and then I was like, okay, cool. Is there like anything you can give me about her, what she's looking to do, you know, what she's got going on?
Yeah, and so then I said, okay, well, actually, I have one girl in mind, and she mentioned on one of our calls last week that she was interested in psychedelics. And then she mentioned, or I know that she has recently gone through like a divorce or like a breakup. And so this is literally the only thing that I shared with Connor.
Yeah.
Now, how would you go from here? If we would ask the stars, the visionaries, those of you on the call, that this situation, like what would you do from here? Let us know in the chat. Specifically the stars, the visionaries, but also maybe everybody else that is not that, to see where you would take it, because I would take it somewhere completely different than where Connor would take it, right? So put in the chat, like what type of questions would you ask yourself? And here you can already kind of start to discover, which is kind of fun, how easy this really comes to you. Are questions just like popping up for you right now, or is this a little bit more challenging because then you may not be the visionary? Okay, Denise says, I'd brainstorm words associated with both psychedelics and divorce breakup.
Yeah.
Analogies.
Where do I see myself, says Boke, yeah.
I think of who I could connect her to. Oh, Julia, I love that. So then you see immediately that you're in a different direction.
Thinking a different way.
Yeah, you're thinking more in like the bottom right corner right now. Where do I see myself? Okay. Mind mapping for Maxime. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Anybody else? We have like 70 plus people on the call. Who else has something to share? How those two can be connected. Beautiful, Ida Maria.
Mm-hmm. What
experiences does she already have in psychedelics? Mm-hmm. How do you know if your feelings are your intuition or your comfort zone speaking to you? Write everything down that comes up. Great job, Abigail. What are her expectations from this experience?
How I can turn this into something positive.
How I could help her, and if I can't, who can I connect her to? Okay, so Lindsay, you're also thinking in a different direction, which is also really cool to see.
Yeah.
Sarah, me as a seller, how to market it, who could be interested. Ooh, I like that, Sarah. Oh my God, I love this. Like, I love seeing how many of you guys, and so visualize what this is going to be like at the retreat as well, right? When one person says, hey, this is my situation, and then you're going to have different people that look at the angle from marketing and sales. You're going to have people look at it from, well, how can it work in the back end? You're going to have people like, well, how can we make it more unique? How can we innovate here? How can we stand out from the rest of the market, right? So you see all these different people that are going to be adding different things to it, which makes it incredibly powerful.
Oh, hugely beneficial in the
how can I turn this into a business concept? What can be done to enable her to process this further? Beautiful.
Yes, awesome.
Okay, so just a couple of questions that come up here for Connor.
Yeah. So for me, obviously, as you guys mentioned, for those of you who mentioned asking deeper questions, 100%. That's what I would have been doing to start opening it up more, right? And then be able to expand more from there. Though with this, I was like, you know what? I started this yesterday, right? Or
2 days ago.
2 days ago, and I was just like, oh, okay, here, I'll put a business model together with only 2 basic words we have. Is like, okay, you went through a divorce, a breakup, and you're interested in psychedelics. We didn't have a conversation.
The reason why we only did this 2 days ago is because we couldn't pick which idea we were going to share because there's so many.
I had a handful of other ones in my notes, and I was like, well.
And there's a few that were just like so big that I was like, I think this is going to be too overwhelming. So this is really an idea that I feel like was like comprehensible, is that a word?
Yeah.
For you guys, and that's why we decided to pick this one and break this one down more. And so some of the questions that Connor asked himself, which is really interesting to see. Do you guys remember the quadrant right now with the what, the who, the when, and the how? You guys see it's what questions right now on the screen as well. And so I asked Connor, like, so what did you ask yourself, right? So he said, what do I need to know about psychedelics? And then he started diving into it. He started Googling and researching about that topic.
And then from there, in the expansion state, it's a large list that continues to grow of other questions in each of these avenues that I'm asking myself. Most of them being what questions as well.
Yeah.
Right?
Now, what do I need to know about breakups? The other thing that is going to be tied into this business concept. Then he was going to ask himself, like, what words define a breakup? And then what words define psychedelics?
Yeah.
And then he goes deeper into uncovering some of the problems and opportunities in each lane.
Yeah.
Why? Because you want to build an opportunity, you want to build something that can be successful. And so what are the problems in each one of those? Or what are the opportunities in each one of those? And then asking yourself, well, how big is this opportunity actually? Like, how big could this be? And then one thing that Connor added as well for him, like this is just important for him, that might not be important to all of you, but like, does this business concept have like a net positive or a net negative on society? Like, is this something that is going to be impactful in a positive way for everybody that is going to be buying this business, for example, or buying this offer or service?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, let's go to the next one. So this is like the business concept, right? And we're going to not come up with all the answers right now. Connor has them all in the notes. I was thinking about putting them all in here, but we just want to give you guys the framework of how Connor thinks so that you can apply this to your own business if you're a visionary, or ask a visionary to support you with that. So then the second thing is like, how do you then come up with like brand names, brand identities, like juicy and attractive elements to the business? And you did that by coming up with some of the energy and the words that were coming to mind regarding this business concept.
Yeah.
So if you guys think about that, I'll drop one word in the chat. What word comes to mind when you think of either a breakup or a psychedelic? Like, what words are coming to mind? Or the combination of both, right? Healing, growth, confusion, healing, change, healing from Nicole.
For psychedelics,
expanding, healing journey, mushrooms, dismantle, moving forward, different view, growth, purpose, going deep, new tool. Beautiful.
Yeah.
So that's the same thing that Connor did, right? He came up with a couple of words, a longer list, I just picked a couple out, about what came to mind for him, and things like, bounce back, or bright beings, or grounding, or mind, heart, healing, holistic, health, hope, frequency. All these different words came to mind for him.
Obviously also like heartbreak and things like that as well, a bunch of other ones that associate with one side versus, so the extremes of both, and then finding also then where they merge, right, or where one can be influencing the other.
Yeah. Right. And so there's one example that Connor wants to give you guys about Nike.
Yeah, so I read this book from the founder of Nike a little while ago, and then this popped into mind as well, just to give you another quick example. Nike, the name, but now you shared it here. I was going to ask the question first. I didn't realize you put the slide together like this. I was going to ask, hey, Nike, do you guys know what Nike is or means or symbolizes? And some of you guys maybe know, some of you guys don't, but now it's laid out right in front of you. Nike is the Greek goddess of victory, okay? Now, the Greek goddess of victory, this was a name that was already in the past, like historical, like ancient Greece, right, where this name existed, right? Now, the Greek goddess of victory, the founder of Nike, he's creating shoes, right? What does he want the people who are wearing his shoes to experience? That would be one of the questions that I would ask, and that he's likely asked. He wants them to experience victory. He wants them to feel victory. What does that look like, right? What is and then you discover, or like open up, okay, if you want your people to feel victory, now we're going to expand upon victory. And then you start, for me, I start to look into the past. I start to look into the future, both directions across different timelines, and understand really what victory is. What does victory mean, right? And then you come across likely, hey, are there any deities or something like that in the past relating to victory? And you come across, oh, there's an ancient Greek goddess of victory, and her name is Nike, right? Okay, great. That's cool. That's perfect association then for him as he's creating Nike. Yes, there you go, Jasmine, exactly. And I was going to point that out too. If you look, this is the picture that's held on the Wikipedia page of Nike, like the Greek goddess Nike. And if you look at the statue, if you can see mentally, maybe not, it'll take a second, but if I had a pen, you could draw it out, right? You could draw it out, basically. The exact logo, that check mark of what Nike, the symbol is even, is seen right here, presented through how this stone is carved, right? If you guys see this, you can see the mouse here, right? It's like a check mark from here, and it has a swoosh going up, right? So there's a silhouette, there's a symbolism in the stone, right, in the Greek goddess of victory named Nike. So everything about his branding, in a sense, could be, came across, or asking the right questions, came across this, this deity, which had a story and symbolism around it, and then he came across this image, which also had something about it that, felt like it could be in alignment with what he wanted to insert into his brand. part of the component of creating one of the most known brands in history, right?
Yes, and so what Connor often does is he dives very often into the past. So you often think into, actually before I say that, one thing that I wanted to mention from Lindsay, and that was that she said, I like that most of the words that you had on the slide earlier are all positive.
Correct.
And that is because Connor was looking at the transformation that people are going to go through by using psychedelics after they've, gone through a breakup. So like, what is the transformation? How are they going to come out on the other end? Because that is the main thing that we want to focus on.
Yeah, I'll still identify both extremes, though for the most part, the things I create and I want to bring forth and invent or contribute to in this world, I want to have that heavy positive orientation. As I say, for me, I'm highly optimistic. That comes into my creations, right?
Yeah, exactly. So next one, just the brand name examples that we wanted to share with you guys. Just a few, just to kind of get you guys thinking. I'm gonna have a list of 15, and I picked the 5 that I like the most.
I think there's a handful actually. I came up with a couple more, but there's a handful
that I wasn't allowed to share.
I think we chose not to because the person if she wants to create or run with this business model, there's a couple that I was we'll keep for her.
Okay.
So there's one I came up with as well, which is I found in the exact principles I gave you for just now discovering how Nike came about, right? And if you read this book from the founder of Nike, he explains it a bit, but still I think I just explained it, to be honest, I explained it with more detail and more how you can actually discover it on your own than what he does in the book. And that's because that's how my mind operates.
What's the name of the book? Shoe Dog.
Shoe Dog, yeah.
Yeah. So, so just a couple of examples here, and that was what Connor was just sharing. One of the names that he did come up with was also somebody.
It has a similar. It's a similar discovery path as what I just described with Nike, right? But for the purpose of this, and everything about it is in alignment on a very high vibe level that it makes sense when you understand. You're like, oh damn,
Yeah. Exactly. So the first one that Connor came up with, which is just a very simple way of coming up with a brand name, I would say, because you can explain it, right? So the breakup bounce back retreat. So let's say that you do a retreat, and after a breakup, you want to bounce back. You want to bounce back to how you were feeling before, empowered, strong.
Better than before.
Better than before, yes.
Yep.
So the breakup is what they experience, and then the bounce back is the transformation. So how do you guys feel about this name? Let me know in the chat. Is this something that you feel would be, what you think about this? Catchy? So what Connor often looks at as well is how certain letters, how do you say this?
A lot of different things that can be together. Yeah, how the words mesh, right? Exactly like Tanya's saying, the bees, right? Sometimes if there's something, I'll play this out with a bunch of different letters and words as well sometimes to see which ones. And it's nice when it has a breakup, bounce back, retreat. Right? So B, and then if you can have something that rhymes, or if you can add acronyms, or it's wordplay, right? So it's becoming a bit of a magician with words and being able to find ways to blend things together and come up with cool things, right?
Yeah. So another one is the love protocol. So what were your thoughts here?
Now, love protocol, I was thinking what people have experienced, what they just got pulled away from, heartbreak, boom, they lost love, and what they need to regain, or what they're looking to regain is love. Right? They want to find love somewhere else. They want to love themselves again. For the most part, people who are having a hard time, it's the love, they've lost love in a sense, right? And they need to rediscover that self-love, right? Now the protocol is basically the way and the strategy in which it's executed, right? So basically the love protocol is our system, our protocol to regain love, right? To be surrounded with love, energizing.
Now another one is lovable. .io. So able to love. I love this one. I thought it was really, really cool. Another one that I thought was really beautiful was Adore Amor.
I love that one. I like the way that sounds. A double A, right? Adore Amor. And it sounds fluid, right? It sounds like it rhymes. And it's just it's elegant, it's beautiful, and it's adoring, it's appreciating and regaining appreciation for love, right? It's loving love, right? Adore Amor.
Yeah, and I love what Julia is saying. It's welcoming and heartwarming. Amazing.
Yeah.
And then the last one, which is empower. So it's just a short version of empowering. So you can always look at how you're going to take certain pieces of words off. That's what Connor has done here. And then immediately something else clicked in his mind again and be like, well, how can I create an acronym out of this? And so just a brief example of it is like that empower, you could have different words for the program for it.
And now that, just to understand though, I didn't put a high level of effort into describing what these ones were. This was just the quickest. Hey, this came to mind and I just filled it with like emotional management, psychedelic ownership workshop, right? Boom, empower, right? So that as an example, right? And that, of course, all of these can be, you know, I mean, some of them are great, but some of them like the empower, I would still want to see some improvement in that. Though there's still a handful of one of my notes. I got a whole bunch more and I think some of them are better even than most of these. But
so now you guys got a bit of like an insight in the mind of Connor and how like a visionary really, like how a visionary thinks, right?
Yeah.
Because that is the thing that Connor is and what comes really easy to him.
Yeah, and in this as well, like I've added stories in and slogans and a whole bunch of other pieces that I've already filled up in my notes, and I've been able to fill that in, right? That's not something we've shared here in the moment, but that's all there as well.
Yeah, so we shared a lot today, and I am just really curious, and I want to hear from all of you. After listening to us for over an hour, what has been your biggest aha moment or your biggest realization today? Let us know in the chat. Self-awareness and knowing what to delegate is a superpower, Tana. Not everybody does things the way I do it. Yes, Maxime?
Not everybody thinks as I do.
And thinks as you do, yes. Partner up, direction of how to expand. Beautiful, Melanie.
Yeah.
Why I get annoyed by my partner so much. I'm glad that was your realization, Denise. Search some 3 steps further, like 2 or 3 over in the quadrant.
Yep.
We need to focus on all the areas for Shuvik. Lucas, find company for your company. Awesome.
That's nice, yeah.
Melanie, so much. Working together to empower each other. Power of expansion, how to get in a creative flow. That I look at my business only through one lens. Absolutely, Oliver.
Yes.
Keep the focus on your own zone of genius. All right, so we have 2 questions for you guys, okay? So we want to know on a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being like super excited, okay? So how excited are you to actually get to 100% get confirmed what your natural talents and your gifts are? So on a scale from 1 to 10, let me know how excited you are to actually get that confirmed, what your natural talents and gifts are.
Love this. We got 11, 10, 10, a whole bunch of 10s, 11. We got some 10s and 11s. We got 100.
All right, the next one, nice. How excited are you to apply, like not just only learn about it and get it confirmed, but actually get to apply your natural strengths and expand your business? On a scale from 1 to 10, let us know where you're at.
You guys are breaking the rules here. We got 10,000. Yeah, I love that though. Nice.
Amazing.
Oh,
well, that is exactly why and what we're going to be doing at the retreat in Austria. So I would love for you guys to drop a yes in the chat if you would like to jump on a call with either me or with Francine in the upcoming days. Let me know with a yes if you would love that.
Yes, please. Nice.
Amazing.
Yes, please. Yeah,
well,
nice.
then, we'll make sure to reach out to you. I see a lot of yeses still coming in. We'll reach out to you and we'll jump on a call and then we get to discuss the experience. And the retreat is going to be in December. Okay. Yes. Now, what we'll do is we'll give you a bit of a taste of what the retreat is like, because we know that many of you have been on the waiting list already, and this is actually the first time that we're going to be sharing things publicly. So I'll answer your question in a second, Jessica. We already have spots filled for people that have been on the wait list, and the exciting thing is that we actually decided to run 2 retreats to give more of you the opportunity to really expand your life, expand your business, because we know how powerful it really is to be together in the same space, to actually get to co-create and to have and see like your business through a different lens. And so it's going to be the first 2 weeks of December. So the first week of December and the second week of December is when the retreats are going to be taking place. And so instead of learning about, your natural talents via a Zoom call with us, we want to really invite you to come to Austria for an entire week with us, where we really get to put this concept into action. Not just with us, right? It's going to be with 12 other entrepreneurs. We each have their own lens through which they view their business, and together we get to co-create. Together we get to mastermind on your vision and expand your business. And so there's going to be 3 pillars for the retreat. So it's going to be a week-long experience, right? Okay, and so there's going to be 3 workshop days and 3 days where we get to connect with each other, where we get to experience the lifestyle, have a good time, because we've gone to so many conferences, retreats, experiences over the past couple of years. And what we love most, actually, is like the moment where we get to go through the break to like connect with people and have the conversation and build friendships for life. And so we really wanted to have that balance of both. We're going to be diving deep into your business and making sure you're expanding and looking at all the concept that we've discussed today, and 3 pillars that we're going to be discussing. I see Julia saying, I'm flying from Asia to Austria for this retreat if I have the possibility to join. Yes, Julia, we'll talk later. And so there's going to be three pillars and in the 3 workshop days. And so the first workshop day will be really around creating your life and your business vision. And this is obviously where Connor comes in, where he really gets to sit down with you. And so everything that we're going to be doing during the retreat, it's not going to be us teaching you a bunch of things and you having a to-do list and leaving at the end of the week with a to-do list. No. We get to co-create. We get to sit down. We get to mastermind with each other.
Yeah.
We get to like put you in a hot seat, and like everybody's going to be giving input on who you are, especially all the visionaries and the stars and the people that are thinking that way on day 1. Okay, so that is the first workshop day. Then the second workshop day is really expanding your offer. Like, what is it that you're currently selling, if you're selling anything already? And if not, then if you have something, we're going to be expanding that so that you can really have a very unique offer that is a no-brainer for your clients to actually jump into. That is the second workshop day. And then the third workshop day is really infusing your unique story into your sales process. Okay, because I believe that if you can tell stories, if you can actually infuse your unique gifts into your sales process, it's going to be so much more smooth and easy. And so we have Francine on the team, we have both of us there, and we're all going to be coming together and co-create and mastermind with each other so that you can really step into that expansion of your business, really catch that tailwind, right? Like we mentioned at the start of it as well. Yeah. And so there's one really special thing that we have, is that we're going to be making sure that we're going to be offline. So for an entire week, we're going to be offline. You're going to be disconnecting from the online world and really plugging into life, because for us and other entrepreneurs, maybe some of you, we're always online, right? We're always on social media, making sure we're checking in with our clients, and it's going to be such an incredible experience to really get to live in that moment with each other. Yeah. Really get to experience that at the end of this year, so that we can really make sure that we're starting off 2023 very, very strong. So we're going to be offline for an entire week. And let us know in the chat here if you would be open to doing that. So just completely going offline for an entire week. I'm curious if you guys have already done that before. If you would be open to doing that, then let me know with a yes in the chat. Because this is something that we did for January last year, and it was incredible to just really get to live in the moment, and so many new ideas actually came up for us as we were offline for an entire week. And so in this retreat, we're going to be really stepping fully back into like co-creation, really doubling down on your natural gifts and calling in the right people, because we're going to have a mix of people in this group. It's going to be maximum 12 entrepreneurs per retreat, so that we can really dive deep and have an intimate experience and truly amplify your business expansion. And so that is it for today from us. And we have really, really loved hosting this masterclass for you guys. And we will make sure to get in touch with those of you that dropped a yes in the chat to get on a call, and then make sure that we see you in Austria in December. We love you guys all, and we will see you guys very, very soon. Bye-bye.